Hi there, it's Gabrielle Nicolay from Speech Kids. I'm a speech language pathologist with almost 20 years experience serving young children and their families. And I teach little kids to talk and I help their parents understand them better. And these videos is one of the ways that I do that. So today I wanted to talk to you about how tantrums are like traffic jams. And I'm going to give you 3 ways in which tantrums are like traffic jams. And then I'm also going to give you 3 strategies to get through them. That'll work for both tantrums and traffic jams, as it turns out. So here's how toddler tantrums, and hi Sarah, thanks for joining us. Here's how toddler tantrums are a little bit like traffic jams. You sometimes can see them coming. Things start to bunch up and you might have an opportunity to get off the road when it's first sort of starting to happen. But if you miss that opportunity, you're stuck. And the only way to get through it is to go through it. And so you can see the signs, and then once you're in, that's it. You're stuck. You're committed. Once the traffic jam is over, the traffic may just pick up with no apparent reason and no apparent cause, and you just sort of get going on your way. And so as I was thinking about that phenomenon, I was realizing, yeah, that's pretty much like a tantrum. There are sort of jumping off points when you're in the struggle with your little one. There are places where it might be possible to divert and avoid the traffic jam. But that means you have to take another road, right? And it might mean that, hi Gillian, thanks for coming. It might mean that you have to take a longer road. And sometimes that can be really hard, right? Because especially in the morning, which is, in my house, that was when tantrums tended to happen, because I was rushing to get everybody out the door. It might take longer. So you have that decision to make, right? When you see the trouble signs brewing, are you gonna stay committed and get into the thick of it? Or are you gonna maybe take another route that might take a little longer, but that will keep you driving? That will keep everybody functioning sort of at a more optimal level. Once you're in a tantrum, however, if you miss that exit, that's it, you're committed. And so no amount of screaming, yelling, frustration, anger, bribing, reasoning, logic, talk, none of that is going to make the traffic jam or the tantrum go any faster. None of it. You might as well just forget about it. And if we can, in the midst of a tantrum, and for that matter, in the midst of a traffic jam, if we can remember that, we're more than halfway there. And I'll talk about that in a second. So we're committed, we're in the tantrum, we're watching it happen. We're just kind of watching it unfold. Now, I do want to say this about tantrums. If your little one is hurting himself or herself, and if your little one is having many, many meltdowns in a day, and those meltdowns are long and intense and frequent, then you want to talk to your pediatrician, okay? And if your pediatrician is not taking you seriously and it still feels wrong in your gut, then seek out another child development professional who will support you with that. Because very frequent, very long, very dramatic tantrums are not the norm. Pretty infrequent, pretty short duration, and sometimes intense tantrums are very, very normal. So all kids have them. So you just want to be aware of like degree and frequency and length. Okay, when you've gotten through it, everything just sort of goes back to the way it was. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but your child does not hold a grudge. they sort of just move on with their day. They might be tired, they might be, physically recovering, but when it's over, it's over. Just like the traffic. You're not going to hold a grudge against the car that was stuck next to you in traffic, because now everybody's just driving down the road. And so I just wanted to outline that a little bit, because I felt like the similarities and the parallels were pretty apt. I wanted to give you 3 strategies for dealing with traffic and tantrums. The first one is, this is assuming that you've gotten into it, right? Because actually the first strategy, and maybe this is more than 3, is to avoid it if you can. And we're going to talk more about that in the next video, about what are some strategies that can help avoid tantrums from happening in the first place. How can you sort of navigate around the traffic jam so that you don't end up having to deal with it? But let's assume you're in it. You're committed. There's no way out. Take a deep breath. And I mean that in all seriousness. Take a deep breath. Oxygen is your friend. It helps your brain. It helps you think better. It helps you calm down. It has all kinds of neurophysiological effects. And you need to just take a very, very deep breath. And I know that sounds ridiculously easy, and yet I hope that you will try it the next time that you are either in traffic or dealing with a tantruming toddler. And I hope that you will notice the effect that it just has immediately on your body. Oxygen is your friend. The other one is create some space. Count to 3, count to 10. There's nothing you can do other than be safe when someone is having a tantrum. There's no amount of talking that will bring them back from it. Don't talk in a crisis, says the speech therapist. Stop talking. Okay? They're not available. If you think of yourself in your angriest state, when you're really seeing red, you're not available. There's no point in talking at that moment. So that's your second strategy, is just leave some quiet space. Count to 10, count to 20, count to 100, whatever it takes. The third strategy is to stay calm. And that may be the hardest one of all, which is why I say before, breathe and count, because those will help you then stay calm. Again, no amount of upset, losing your marbles is not going to help somebody else calm down. Just in the same way that it is not going to break up a traffic jam. That's just not, doesn't relate, doesn't help. As much as it seems like that's the appropriate action to take, which is to rail against the reality of what's happening. And yet the only thing that does is make it worse. So if you can take a deep breath, create some space for quiet, and just stay real calm, that tantrum will be over. It will at least feel like it will be over, in the same way that the traffic jam will feel like it's over a whole lot quicker. And so I hope this was helpful. We're going to talk some more about what we can do on the front end of a tantrum in the next video. Until then, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.